you so much. Being hosted by you is in fact a delight. Give it up for the lady, please, Bhavna, everybody. And thank you, Shefali, for keeping us engaged. So from an anchor to the role of a conversationalist today, my very bright discussants are on stage. Please welcome them with a zordar talia and, of course, all the applauses in the air. A warm, warm welcome to the three of you. So yes, like Bhavna said, talking about the proverbial, big fat Indian wedding that is, of course, always known for its opulence, for its scale, and also the diversity. So if I'm not wrong, and if the research is right, a staggering 1 crore weddings take place in India every year, and the industry is rising at a pace of more than 30%. Now, people across cultures, ladies and gentlemen, they wish to be a part of Indian weddings. They want to witness it. And I think we do give them the right reasons to do so. So, even when the Indian wedding industry, when we talk about it being unorganized, still, no doubt the big spends that go into it definitely do make our economy thrive. Suppose the COVID, when we are back with a band, we are here to decode the wedding rebound with the who's who and the movers and shakers of the industry. So with all the love that you have for my panel, let's just dive into the conversation. Now, I'm going to play like a quick rapid fire with the three of you, wherein I'm going to ask the three of you to just maybe in a line or maximum two, just tell us what you do. And how do you really create the experience?
Basically, we design experiences for destination weddings, and we curate this experience from the time the guests enter to the guest leaves. And why I would say not decor, not entertainment, not anything, because when you're doing a destination wedding, it is an experience that you're curating from the word go, once the bride and groom decided to get married, to the time the last guest leaves. So this is what exactly we do.
Lovely. All right. Tanaz, there you are.
I work as a wedding planner for my dear colleagues over here, very many of them. I'm an event manager by profession, I do wedding planning for various organizations. I teach at the Whistling Woods, and I also am currently looking after A.R. Rahman's music school in Mumbai, which has just begun, the KM Music School. Apart from that, I love to party. I practice yoga. We were supposed to have a session and all that. And I also practice Zumba.
Mm-hmm. I wish I could also ask you, what is it that you don't do, but we'll keep it for another session. That way, Rahul, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rahul Suri from Lovebirds. We are into flower business, and we have a corporate gifting company also. But today I'm here to discuss and to give some information about the flower industry, and flowers are always a good idea.
Always a delight. All right. So, well, if you three are wondering about where's the hamper, the rule of the game is that the hamper always belongs to the host in this case. All you get is the audience love. So another round of cheer from everybody for all the three lovely ones on the stage. And on that note, Rahul, you're going to be my opening batsman for the discussion. So say from revenge buying to revenge travel to, maybe pun intended, revenge weddings. Is it true that we can also call it a revenge turnover? Are the turnovers also as upbeat as how gung-ho we are about the entire industry,
See, post-COVID demand is really high, no doubt about it. But you have to see the other side also, as far as flower industry is concerned. I mean, India is anyways a very big market, and there is enough business for everybody, I feel. And how much you get depends on how innovative you are or what value addition you give. But on the supply side also, you see, because during COVID, a lot of farmers shifted from agriculture farming to agriculture farming from floriculture. So the supply side has got affected. And now with the weddings going in full swing, decorations going in full swing, all the shops are open. And the patriwala, the roadside vendors, everybody's back. And it's a perishable item. We buy stock every day. And because of less produce, the mandi is very high. So our procurement cost has also gone up. If the demand is up, if the turnover is okay, but the margins are squeezed, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Okay. So that's a different perspective. All right. Because both of you, thank you, Rahul, for sharing. Both of you come from some diverse backgrounds, and there's so many hats that you wear. Then I'm going to ask the two ladies as well. How are you both together, because you are teachers as well in your own capacity, educating the Gen Next on system and processes, if you talk about?
No, I think Taraz, you're the one who started this. And I would say that, she's the one who kind of put the seed in the industry to kind of put the structure, the training and everything. And I would really give it to her that, she's been training the Gen Next all the time and she still wants to do it. So that's something on surely, Tanaz, that, you hold from many years, and I really respect you for that. In terms of training the Gen Next, I would like to speak about our initiatives at EMA, at the Wedding Council, wherein we've taken up 10 initiatives, and training the Gen Next is one of the initiatives we are focusing on. And because still we don't have that, see, the industry is growing at such a fast pace. If suppose we do not train the next gen in how rightly to do stuff, put structures and procedures in there, the industry is going to explode. It's not going to go in the right direction. So EMA has taken, Samit is right here, and we've formed a wedding council, and we've taken this initiative to make sure that we train and bring up the next gen in the right manner. And we're going to take help from different industry experts to put all of this together. Sabas has already said that he'll be interested to help in this, and I'm going to also ask other people to kind of contribute and make sure that there is a proper procedure to do this. And Tanas can add on.
I'm not part of the council yet, but as a teacher, as a professor for so many years, I simply share my experiences over the years that I have had in the different areas of events and weddings, and make it a practice that I teach from the basics. And therefore, the systems, and because I've only learned systems and processes, and I only practice that. So automatically, that just comes out. In all my institutes that I teach, maybe I do in the wedding planning industry also, as well as the event industry, where wedding planning is a module. And today, it is an integral module. Okay? Everybody that I see wants to venture into weddings. So putting in these little systems and practices, and otherwise every second year I hear two of my last year students have become wedding planners. So, I mean, experience also is a big game, okay? It does make a big difference. So learning it from the beginning itself makes all the difference. And I just do that.
Lovely, all right. So when we talk about the industry estimates, we know that when we talk about weddings, half of the money goes unrecorded. There seems to be no industry benchmark or say the fixed rate, and that's why we call the sector unorganized, and sometimes it also earns not such a good reputation to the sector. So if you talk about the traditions of our incredible India, and if I were to go to examples, for example, if handicrafts come under the Ministry of Textiles and say Ayurveda comes under Ayush Ministry, do you think, and I know you're on the path, so do you think that there could be something like an Events Regulatory Authority of India for events in general, and of course I'm going to ask weddings in particular?
So I guess you're asking all the right questions. Sashika, again, I'll take it back to the Wedding Council, because this is also another kind of initiative that we've taken. This is by EMA, sure, because none other than event body, industry body can regulate the industry. So EMA has taken this upon themselves that they're going to do a wedding certification, an accreditation and certification. So we're also working, one of the initiatives that we're working is on the accreditation and certification for weddings, which is a very, once it's done, it's work in progress. Once it's done, it'll be a very big breakthrough. And I'm very, very positive about that. So Aarti and Chetan have taken that from the Wedding Council as an initiative that they'll be working, and of course I'm working alongside with them. So that's one more thing which is on site. So all the questions that you have, we are very well aware within the industry body EMA, and we are we're trying to address that because these are the questions which are there within us as well.
All right. So just a follow-up question on that, because Prerna has answered this one. So, for example, when you talk about the real estate sector, which was also an unorganized sector, so for it to become organized, a huge role the biggies had to play. For example, maybe a Tata Housing or say Godrej Properties. So, will that also make sense if the bigger players, sort of contribute and have the same stake in the wedding industry? The same kind of shift or the same kind of paradigm?
Weddings is a very personalized business. It's not a common thing for everybody. Somebody may have a 20 lakh budget, somebody may have a 20 crore budget. So somebody investing in the business itself, I don't see how that works. But somebody investing in an institute that teaches, that imparts, that explains the marriage, the wedding processes and systems, and encourages that, I would see that they could play a good role. These new builders, they also have built fancy banquet halls now within their own properties.
Yes.
Okay, so that encourages that people, don't have to go far and near. Venues are always a constraint. Venues are always not available. So that is one way that they've been helping in. But in investing, I really don't see much. Although as a body, if we approach, if we meet with people, should work.
All right, thank you. Rahul, your quick take, and Prerna, okay, we'll start with you again. And
I think you should have answered what big players. We are the big players already into business. So, yeah, would be great. I mean, if big players, say Reliance or Tata opens up a B2B mall for procurement, yes, where then you don't have to run around different vendors for different things. You get everything under one roof. So everything hassle-free, and you'll get good prices also, I think, yeah.
So I have a very different view. I feel weddings can get corporatized, and I feel that's where we are gunning towards. We are gunning towards the cashless transactions for weddings. That's the first thing to make a business investable, right? There are tech funds who are also looking at wedding tech-enabled businesses. And I was at a panel at EWPC, and there was a session wherein they were telling people how you can get funds and investors for weddings. So people are totally looking at our segment because of the pace is growing. People looking at weddings and investors are looking to kind of fund wedding businesses. The only thing is that you'll have to put a little bit of tech in it so that it can be scalable. And of course, you have to stop dealing in any other mode than, in account payments. These are the two things which you will have to kind of get to if you want investors to come. If you see weddings.in got bought by Oyo. Yeah.
you were just telling us during
Yeah. So then there is hope, and there are things happening in the industry. And I personally see India as a wedding economy, which I keep saying at a lot of places because I feel everything is around weddings, what is happening. So I am very bullish, and I feel that our sector would be totally, I see a future, our sector would be organized, would have investable funds, and things would be happening as it's happening for any other sector.
Super. All right. Interesting. So pegged at, say, a 6 billion USD, when we talk about the Indian wedding industry, the upsurge is not just for the destination weddings, but also international weddings. So, so much so that the Thai officials they're wanting to tie up with our Indian wedding fraternity to boost their tourism. And the Bollywood celebrities, of course, we take cues from there as well. They made Europe popular for that matter. So I want to understand from each one of you very quickly, because we would love to take up audience questions as well. What's causing the trend? Or is it just a fad that will fade away? So yeah, we'll start with you, Prerna. And I know partially what's your answer, but let's just hear it for the audience. Yeah.
So while I'm not against people going and doing weddings abroad, I always keep saying that how many of our weddings are going outside? We should have much more weddings and revenue coming in our country. People are generally going outside because if they've done 1 or 2 weddings in India, they want a change. They don't want to kind of do the third wedding in the family at the same venue or a same palace or in Goa. So because of that, they go out. But we always keep working every day on saying, how are we getting weddings to India? This time we did a wedding in India, which was actually supposed to happen in Europe. And Aprajita was also writer. We convinced the client that please do make sure that you get this wedding to India. And we and showed them that how important it is for our country to have these weddings. And it was an NRI client, so we said the comeback is very important. And this is a story, again, with Mr. Rajiv is talking with the tourism department, and Samit is working with the tourism department to form a wedding tourism department. And I'm very, very passionate of getting weddings to India. And I know this will happen very soon.
I want to give you a high five on this one. Lovely. Thank you for those applauses. Tanaz, very quickly from you as well.
Every year I hear, today there were 30,000 weddings in a day in India. You know, the Shubh Din, सारे जो 25-15 Shubh Din होते हैं, weddings happen every day. So it's not that weddings don't happen in India. But because a wedding is a very personal dream, it is difficult to convince somebody. And today, most of them have made up their mind. They've lived that dream that I will get married here. And they've convinced their parents. And I see more and more that parents want to give their kids what they want these days. Otherwise, they'll run away. So they better give it to them. And it has opened up avenues across the globe. And people are looking at going abroad. The sentiments, I completely agree and understand. But this is not about my sentiment. This is about my client's sentiment. So I just go by that and happy to take them to Italy, to Venus, wherever they want, any part of the globe. I need to be planned and informed enough to take them there. That's my take.
Okay, Rahul, very quickly. What's your take on this?
Well, I want to ask you one question. Do you like all your relatives? I think the concept of destination wedding started
like all
just
your
to avoid
relatives?
some unwanted relatives. You know,
So, do you mean that we do international weddings only because we want to keep certain relatives off the wedding?
I think so because I belong to a Punjabi family. तो होता क्या है वो कहते हैं कि ऐना नू ऐवे नहीं हो सकता कि बुलाइए ना तो फिर बाहर ही चलो आन गई नहीं.
Chaliye, wo bhi acha hai. Great. All right, interesting. Okay, now this is a different question wherein I was particularly intrigued because it happens a lot of times when I'm doing corporate shows that only if I want like a little track to be played, I want the audience to be engaged and, you know, maybe do some signature stuff or just dance along. It is not possible. Reason, licenses. Now, when we talk about music, that is such an inevitable part of all our celebrations, right? Be it weddings or be it any congregation for that matter that way. So from the times I remember, panelists, you know, I remember the brass bands basically belting out Bollywood numbers in, say, the smaller towns and cities. No one did raise an eyeball. Now, when we talk about the hotels, even when we want to do like just a small event at these 5-star hotels, licenses are a problem in the sense that I think I would want all my audience to have like a little clarity on what should really be covered in a license, what should be the right amount, and of course, this is, I think, as of now, limited to the 5 stars, and no one bothers in the small cities, I still feel. So, what's your take? And yes, Tanaz, I'm going to start this with asking you, because you also wear this hat of, you know, being into the music thing as well. So, what's your take to organize, simplify, and sort of make this playing music more affordable for us at weddings, at events?
So I've been hearing this story for, I don't know, about 10, 12 years now, okay, that we have approached the government. IMA is continuously at it. Every year, the new, whichever team comes on, the first thing is to get this rolling. Ankur is an integral part here, has put many things in place there. But what I still see is that we've still not come to a consensus. Some states allow social weddings without any permission. Some states insist it has to be there. Some licenses, some want to take, some licenses are not required to be taken. So there is no common consensus. Of course, something that we, as IMA, our seniors are looking at. And amount is very funny. When I remember when we started, I was told it was 15 rupees per person to be counted as. When it was PPL and IPRS, approximately 15 rupees per seat, per person. And then suddenly they said 22,000 rupees. Aap 22 de do. Doesn't matter 3,000 hai ki 5,000 hai. Kehne ko poochte hain. They ask once, how many people? But Mandoli, you know, our Mumbaiya language, Mandoli. So 22,000 for for a PPL, and for IPRS, of course, is a little more now. Then suddenly we have Novex coming in. Then there is a ISRA now, and it's just growing. So before it really, before every single music industry house comes and sits and asks us for more and more, it's a big task to get it out from clients. It was so difficult to explain to a client. नहीं हमको तो नहीं भरना है. अरे नहीं sir, आपको भरना पड़ेगा. It is part of your deal now. No hotel gives us permission to start loading in unless our permissions are granted. So this is a big, big problem, issue, which we're looking at and hoping someday it clears and there is a clear, clean consensus on it.
You're even yourself. Very quick take on this one. Yeah.
So I'll tell you what we did. Of course, Ima's working and everyone, we've been really at it. But personally, what we did, we took no licenses for any of our weddings last year.
That doesn't happen in weddings at all.
Yes. So what I personally did is KJ sent me an extract of the Copyright Act 521ZA. And I used to send that to my clients. And I said that please write an email to the hotel saying that we are not taking licenses because under this Copyright Act, weddings are exempt from licenses. And they used to attach there, send that emails, because more than us, if the client writes, the hotel listens better. And they used to send that email, attach that extract, and the hotels have sometimes said that you are taking that onus. If the people come, you will handle them. And we said yes. Once a Novex guy came and he said, मैं आप पे case कर दूंगा. And because I was so actively involved with IMA, I knew कि उनकी खुद की identity नहीं है legal, तो हम पे क्या case करेंगे? मैंने कहा कर दो, and nothing happened. So we've taken these kind of stands, and we've made sure that we've paid nothing for these licenses across the year last year, and we still intend to educate and be in the same page, because the money that we spend, the client can use it somewhere else. Why do we want them to pay where they're not supposed to pay?
I think that's very thoughtful, and only because you and your team is well informed, and that's why you could take that stand. So good to know. We are almost running out of time. So for my last question, I'm going to only take a binary answers from the three of you. We'll start with you, Rahul, again. So because 80% of the planning when we talk about weddings these days is online. So but there's a catch. A lot of products and services for the opulent wedding that are needed. Do you think everything can really be managed online? And do we really need a dedicated e-commerce portal for wedding, like an Amazon wedding, something? Yes or no?
Well, not 100% online, because it is, I think, experience industry. So you have to have one-to-one meetings and everything.
All right, so just an online portal wouldn't do, all right?
I too believe in seeing. Seeing is believing. Nothing online, I mean, most of it never comes as you see it so beautiful. I've experienced it so many times. Seeing is believing in my industry as a norm. Anything and everything that happens in a wedding or an event, seeing is believing.
Loved it, Prerna.
So 100% online portal will not work, but because we are a service industry by the end, so it has to be a mix of physical plus a little bit of online, but we'll have to digitize it and go technologically enable our business to grow.
Super, so hybrid there as well, right? Works. All right, very quickly, my dearest audience members, do you have any questions for our panel? Oh, okay, we can just take up one. Bhavna is just Yes, we have one of the question. Can we have the mics being? All right. Wow. And Bhavna, I would definitely comply whenever you say like time out because I am in your shoes, so I do empathize with you. All right, let's just get this question asked. So please.
My name is, hello, my name is Kulbhushan Dhawan. I'm a hotelier by profession. I've been doing a lot of these functions. My only question anyone can answer with regard to the wedding planner is how many times you face problem or have been facing problem with regard to your final payments by the customer at the end of the day when the function goes all, everything is very, very good. And then finally when you go to his home or you sit down and do your final calculations, nahi yaar, ye acha nahi tha, wo acha nahi tha, aisa tha, waisa tha. But how do you manage all these things? It's really frustrating when the whole team is working day and night. It's not a one-day job. The thing starts 6 months before, maybe sometime 8 months before. And not one visit, it's more than 100 visits. But the client doesn't realize this. और पैसे मार दिए जाते हैं. Comments.
So we wedding planners are merely mediators. Okay? Most of the times the client already has signed with you. The client has already signed with you and we are a mediator. Yes, sometimes they do give us the role of signing off on all the bills and we get it signed. Again, here I would say systems and practices would help. Some system in place that, you just cannot, I mean, we do as professionals now, we do take all advances, right? But a proper system set in place will make this will help this a long way. And as far as I know, most of the clients do pay up the monies, the big ones, they do pay up on time. They may take a day later because that night they're too engrossed in their celebrations, but the next day. And it again, you put systems in place. You guys have. You all don't let the client go. I've had people running behind me, up sign lao, up sign lao, up sign lao. So both ways, some practice and system will help.
I think we've been taking 100% advance before the checkout. So we've been also following, like the hotel, we've been following that. That protects us and also our suppliers. So I guess that system and like this system has helped us. So it might help others as well.
Yeah, one last point. I wanted to thank Prerna for touching upon the Copyright Act. We've got Devraj here, and we will have discussions about that later. But yes, thank you for educating everybody about Section 52, where weddings and wedding-related functions are actually exempt from copyright. It's important that each one of us understands that and educates ourselves, and only then we'll be able to solve that problem. So thank you, Prerna, for bringing that up. The question was, the subject of this session is decoding the big rebound, and very little has been spoken about that. I'd request the moderator to ask each person, what is the difference pre-COVID and post-COVID in the wedding business? What is the big rebound like? And that I believe is something that should be spoken about before this panel ends. Thank you.
Should we just take it as is?
Well, with the market open, with all the venues open now, during COVID, they did, everybody did their weddings or functions at their farmhouses if they want to do it on a bigger scale. Now with everything open, venues are available, so they are all ready to spend any amount because they have missed big weddings.
Yes, they're back with a big bang. I've just signed 1 or 2 weddings now, but there's no looking back. They want everything and everything. And they want to go to the best destination in the world and want every single thing. Or in fact, I've seen now, instead of the 2.5, 3-day wedding, destination weddings are becoming 6 and 7 days. So it's back with a big bang. And it's going to go, not going to look back.
The demand side has increased and so has the supply side. There are a lot more new wedding planners and designers who've come in. So there's a surge in demand and surge in supply, and that's what exactly we are trying to manage in the industry to kind of maintain this equilibrium I feel the budgets have increased, but there's a lot more competition, which is around the place. And people who've been there a lot more longer in the industry are also getting competition from the newcomers. So it is both the sides that we're facing, like, we're trying to balance it out, but there is challenges on both the side as of now.
Thank you. Thank you on that. Samit, one question from his side, a quick one, and we just request a quick reply. Firstly, Devraj is there. Can we give him a big round of applause? Thank you so much for being a part of our summit. Samit, the mic is all yours, right at the back.
So, a quick answer from all three of you. We'll begin with Tanaz. What's the one big difference or change that you've seen between 2019 and 2022?
Newer ideas, innovation in technology, new ideas, new artists. Look at the stand-up comedians in the weddings right now. Look at the up-close illusionists.
Prerna.
All these things would never happen.
I already said that there is a lot more supply than earlier, and there are new people who are there in the industry because.
So, in terms of approach and attitude, is there a change? Is there anything which is different? You see, supply, demand, artist, infrastructure, all of this is commodity at the end of the day. There's a price point, you pitch a price point and you buy it. Is there a change in your approach? Is there a change in the approach of the client families? That's my question actually.
So I think, if personally, I think we are more agile and very, very quick to change, because also now the decision makers are also the bride and groom vis-a-vis the parents, and the shift has happened much more faster because of the COVID and the digital era, because everything went online when we were planning weddings. So the baton has been handed over to the bride and groom from the parents. Of course, parents still are sitting in the back seat and managing it, but forefronting is a...
Good, thanks.
Thank you. And I think with this...
Yes, definite shift is there between on both ends. We've geared up to meet all ends.
Rahul, a quick one.
Well, I think we are working now on wafer-thin margins because we know that competition has increased a lot. I mean, yes.